Stop talk now for those that are here. Guess what, everyone? Player Driven is live. We're here hanging out. Greg's talking about thumbnails. It's exciting topics for all those who come here. I'm wearing a flamboyant shirt again. This one's the
People love
Haunted
your shirt,
Mansion.
man.
Haunted Mansion today.
Haunted Mansion. We are live now. So
Yeah,
you
well, I
you
almost
just
got my Oogie Boogie Bash tickets for my daughter's birthday, and there was the one day sold out. I got a push notification. I was out with a client yesterday. I was like, Oogie Boogie tickets are on sale. I was like, oh shit, I better look. And I clicked, and like it's like the if you're Disney, it's like sells out instantly in California. It's like it's there, it's gone, right? And it was like my daughter's birthday is in mid-October, and I was like, is the Sunday open for her? Clicked on it. No. Ugh.
what is that?
Oh, Oogie Boogie Bash. It's like Disney's version of Universal Horror Nights, where that at night they shut down California Adventure and they turn it into Oogie
Oh,
Boogie
okay.
Bash. So it's like kid friendly and everyone dresses in costumes. It gets candy because they hand out candy there. So it's like trick or treating at California Adventure. Anyways, it's a very very hot ticket if you can get it. And my daughter's birthday is in October, and she's almost at the age where we're like, okay, maybe the kids are ready to stay up late and not do Disney in the day, but we just do Disney at night and just do something different, change it up. And it's like, nope. So
That is super cool, though. I think bringing your kids when they're older to these types of events. I know my sister went to the Florida Disney Halloween nights a few years ago, and she said it was one of the coolest experiences being there. And even you asked me, we went camping last weekend, and now that my kids are older, they were able to go walk on trails by themselves. I'm like, this is the most freeing thing I've ever had because my kids are just doing their own thing now, and I can enjoy myself. And I'm sorry you didn't get tickets.
alas, alas. All right, hey, I'm gonna push this out here right now. Can I
So
share?
while
What's
he's
up?
sharing, we are live. It's Thursday. We're back on our normal day. We have so much to talk about, Colin, today. We got Next Fest from Steam. We got PlayStation news. We got the nonstop Xbox news. I want to talk a little bit about my podcast with Charlie Alston from Call of Duty matchmaking stuff, and also Poki. So I think we have a full slate of stuff to talk about. How's everything, Colin? Where do you want to kick off today?
It's going well. It's going well. I'm excited. There's a lot going on. I'm literally. I'll read you. Bungie just basically died today. At least severely injured, and then Xbox says, "Hold my beer." And yeah, it's crazy, man. A lot happened this week. To think we had GTA 6, lots of stuff happening there. We had the Gabe Cube finally reveal its price as you could buy it in a lotto system now. So best of luck to who wants to buy a underpowered PlayStation 5 for $400 more. But hey, have at it and tell me why Linux is amazing. And sorry, I'm showing my cards on this one, and yeah, and then now we have unfortunately, I already written my kind of goodbye to Bungie like almost a month ago now, but now the axe has kind of already fallen. Most of the Destiny 2 team is gone, Marathon, all that sort of stuff. And now Xbox says, in just in time, like, well, if that's the price of the Steam Cube, then we're coming in with our price hike. So lots of happening, man. Lots happening.
Yeah, there's a lot. And let's start with the easiest one. GTA 6 pre-orders open today. Did you make your pre-order?
I'm doing it today. No, I'm not in the house. So my office separate from my house, from where my PlayStation sits. 100%. I'm buying the $100 game. Like this is like the most no-brainer decision of all time. They're like, hey, you get guns, you can do tattoos, I get to buy 8 cars. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Here's my money. Don't really care, right? So buying it on PlayStation, pre-ordering it, and we'll buy the $100 version because I'm gonna probably put at least 100 hours in the game, so it's $1 an hour. Sure. Seems like a fair trade. No complaints on my end. And yeah. What about you? Did you put your order in? Are you playing it?
Am I playing it? Of course I'm going to play it. I am not going to pre-order it yet. I see no reason to pre-order it right now. I will pre-order it when where's this other thing? I will pre-order it when I can pre-install it. I feel like that's more the timing I need to aim for. But I have no issues dropping $100 for a game that I will put more than 100 hours into. It seems like a no-brainer. Just I don't know what the rush is to do it day one.
To be part of the moment, Greg, to share your content of you purchasing GTA 6 like everyone else. Don't tell me you're like one of those people that's like, wait for my gameplay footage. I'm like,
Yeah, man.
Don't have to wait for your gameplay footage. Get out of here.
Was it Kotaku this morning that put out a note saying the graphics may not be as good as what we've seen so far, which is like, there's been no gameplay. Why are we even talking about this? Maybe it was just a clickbait
Who
article.
cares? I just like I, I'm not buying GTA 6 for its graphic fidelity to like look at the water textures and say, man, this is peak gaming. If anything, gamers have shown over and over and over and over again over the last like year plus that they don't care about graphics. They care about playability and fun and just other parts of the game. Like and we could go on a whole podcast about this, but like the fact that like certain outlets and certain people get hung up on graphic fidelity despite the player preferences showing they just don't give a hoot, especially younger ones who are in Roblox, like which is the antithesis to graphics. I mean, they're block people. I mean, so is Minecraft. Like nobody cares, right? That's my 2 cents.
We get Steven, who seems to not be a fan of the price based on his emoji he put out here with the little puking guy. So thanks for that, Steven. And I talked with Justin. I told you earlier today, Justin Ruiz, who's been on before, and we talked about UGC from a GTA 6 and a Roblox standpoint. And curious on your thought if you think GTA 6 is going to win over the creators, and if you think they'll end up actually paying creators, or has your mind not even gone there yet?
I mean, will it win over creators? Yeah, but I think you're focusing on the wrong ecosystem. I think Fortnite's in an interesting spot. I think Roblox always exists for kids. It's what it is. Despite Roblox trying to tap dance and say, look at all the people that say they're born in the 1800s in our platform. See, we have older people. They're basically ghosts, and here they are playing and consuming Roblox. And I'm like, right. Of course, Roblox Corporation, they're obviously not kids on that platform. But yeah, I think Roblox is fine. They'll just keep doing what they do, right? Which is an incredibly hard to monetize platform because it's all kids. But in the middle, you have Fortnite, and I think that wants to get squeezed because teenagers and people that age out of Roblox or age in conjunction with Roblox into Fortnite are going to want to go where the new hotness is. So I think that one's the one that gets squeezed. Like, and because GTA is just cooler, it's more edgy, it's the hotness, right? And like, I don't know how, and Fortnite's already been on a steady and elongated decline as I've written about before. So I think it's actually that one that should be a little bit concerned. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, will they pay creators? Like, probably. I mean, most platforms don't pay the creators. Like, the one that does is YouTube. Like, and Twitch allows some rev sharing, and and I guess Spotify, because it has to pay people, the creators being the musicians on the platform, they pay them pennies per stream. And Meta doesn't pay anyone to put content on Instagram. TikTok doesn't pay anyone to put their stuff on TikTok. So I think the value is elsewhere. So I don't know. I just think like oftentimes creators just don't get paid. They find other ways to monetize, and then they're not doing it for charity purposes. So there's ways to make money. I just don't know if the platform pays them explicitly. Not to say they won't. Who knows, right? We're just guessing here. But I'm
There are
dubious.
platforms that allow creators to be paid. There's Overwolf, there's Mod.io, and they work in Arc and they work in these other games. And yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
ads. By the way, ads is how they get paid, but we don't have to
no,
dive down that.
you sell the content you create. You can buy skins, pre-purchase skins and stuff like that, skins that people create. Either way, GTA 6 is gonna be a banger.
Oh
And
yeah, no, like I wrote like in my comment this week, and it'll actually kick off my newsletter. Like GTA 6 basically won Summer Game Fest by putting out a box art, a pre-order date, and then the pre-order price. And they had more attention by just posting things than games that spend hundreds and thousands to millions of dollars to promote the games at over a 3-week window. Incredible job by Rockstar. I coined it like, and people come at me like they're marketing. It's like post marketing. I'm like, they just put out a very little bit of stuff. It's like the game itself is the marketing, and and it's like probably the most earned media campaign you will ever see. Like the Zuberter film style analysis that happened with the box art is insane. It's like, man, you like there's no reason for Rockstar to spend actual media money, and they will. Like they are going to spend media money. They'll buy a bunch of ads on the NFL for sure. So like I'm not thinking they're not going to, but like I they don't have to. Like they get all the attention they need via just drip of any sort of content for a fan base that's starved for it. That'll just push it out to every corner of the internet, and you'll have all the attention you'll ever need. Like, money can't buy the attention they're getting, right? That's just put it another way, right? Where other games have to market, and so I'm not saying they shouldn't. And I think Keith had mentioned he's like, you're being dangerous because now some marketing executive at a game company is like, we don't have to market our games. Look what Grand Theft Auto did, and it's like, well, it's Grand Theft Auto. Like, I, 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 I was like, what other game could get away with this? Like Minecraft 2?
Yeah.
like it's like you have to be an older game where your current game still is a top selling game every single month on multiple platforms, and you're creating a sequel. Is Minecraft the only other one that could ever exist on the level of Grand Theft Auto? I can't think of anything else.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I don't know. It's there's still a generation of kids that play Roblox, and you mentioned something earlier, people that age out of Roblox, and I'm curious if people really age out of Roblox. I think this will be a litmus test over time. I think you're seeing higher fidelity content come out of Roblox, and it's not going to be as easy to get people moved as you think, especially younger generations that were never alive when the first or the last GTA 6 launched, right? Or even,
Okay,
but
yeah. So how long did you play with action figures, Greg, when you
how
were a kid?
long?
What age? Oh yeah, what age? So you grew up in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. You must have had action figures, Power
Yep,
Rangers, Ninja
Ninja
Turtles,
Turtles.
X-Men. Yeah. When did you stop playing with them?
Uh, Probably 13 or 14, but then I started playing again when my son was old enough.
There you go. Put that line in the sand for Roblox. When did you stop playing with action figures? And I think that's the equivalency right there. Kids age out of things because they always do, and they go into the next thing. And what's the next thing is a really good question. That's how I think about Roblox until they prove me wrong. And I'm sorry to Roblox employees and anyone who listens to this. I do not buy your ad week presentations where you espouse that 35-year-olds on your platform. It's just, and I, as court cases look into this, it's not the 35-year-olds you want, and it's also objectively not true because you're age gating by a self-selected age verification system, which is like, yeah, good luck with that. So yeah, I just don't buy it until proven otherwise. And I think it goes the way of toys. It's just people age out of it, and that's fine because there's a next generation of people that age into it and they like it a lot. And it's a very big space to be. And if it wasn't, we wouldn't have Toon Disney, we wouldn't have Cartoon Network, or at least the daytime version of it. We wouldn't have like all these entities that exist. Disney Plus, literally, I think it's just a kid engine. Like you have all these entities that make plenty of money and have great financial upside because they cater to kids. So I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just what Roblox is.
Well, let's move topics to where people can potentially age out to move to, which could be Steam, because Steam ran their Next Fest this week, and you got a lot of cool data around Steam Next Fest, and I was hoping you can share some of that with us.
Yeah. So, oh gosh, let me pull up my visual. I'm sorry, I don't have it open right now. I'm gonna fire it up. Maybe you could put it on the socials, TikTok, Steam, whatever engine afterwards. But yeah, I read the newsletter from Game Discover Co. Simon, and he actually puts a lot of data out there. It's pretty open sourcey approach, so appreciate that. And just compared it to what our Mindshare score was relative to that, and so the winners of Steamfest by both our estimations, I know is, and he's looking at wish list growth or whatever, right? So he's looking at wish list, which we should talk about in a minute. Put a pin in that dumb metric because like I'm gonna come back to that one. But like Mistfall, and Echoes of Anakar Crad, I'm so sorry, I'm butchering the name to the small developer behind that, and the 6,000 plus other titles that were involved there, and so I did an analysis compared like our attention metric to wish list growth, and generally speaking, about 15 or so games matched between our lists. Although, granted, our lists vary depending on the title. Some are higher, some are lower, and then we just are very different on like 15 or about 10 more where they were not on each other's lists. So some variance there. Granted, what we're measuring at Mind Game is very much attention, not focused on a singular platform, which is all Steam Wishlist is capturing, but the attention one accrues across search, video, and video meaning YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, etc. Like what is the total attention a thing gets in a week versus, and how does that relate to the rest of the industry in that week versus what's a up and to the right wish list growth metric. But I would love to pause and hear your kind of feedback, but mine is very much data driven, which is like things happen there. But my critique, if you were to call it that, about next Steam Next Fest, and someone put it funny. I won't out the client in particular, but I will quote them directly because I was talking to them about this on DMs, one of our partners, and they said, um, basically, there's a larger problem with Steam Next Fest. If everyone is doing a demo at the exact same time, standing out in one slightly longer needle in a haystack of needles, like basically, like you're basically in a sea of a bunch of stuff, and that's already very hard to get discovered, and you're just praying that you're the game that goes viral out of the event, right? So I don't necessarily disagree with that framing, and I'm curious what your thoughts are. That's my first thing, and then because that's the case, they all look at wish lists and say, "Oh my God, did the wish list gods come down on us today and give us something we need?" But we'll talk about that metric in a second because I have problems with it.
So I'm taking a look at it. I'm trying to find a way to share it, and I can't. So I apologize, everyone. We'll post it afterwards so they can see it. So your first two, Mistfall and Echoes of Inaccurate, like you mentioned, you see eye to eye there, and then you see difference in the rest of the list.
Impulse, Mortal Shell 2, Embers of the Uncrowned,
So what?
Babana, like, oh yeah,
Habana.
okay, like, yeah,
So
Babana, Iron Nest.
you know these games a lot more than me. And I know a number of these games, but I look at the left side, the side that's from Mindshare, and I recognize a lot more of those names at the top than I do on the left side by wishlist, which I think kind of makes sense because wishlists are going to be players who may not be following kind of the news, just trying new games, clicking things and seeing what's working, right? I'm looking at games like Iron Nest, and maybe I should know that, but I'm not too familiar with that. And Restroy and Over the Hill, like I don't know those games, but I have no doubt that if it caught fire on Steam Next Fest, it probably got a lot of likes. But that's a very, like you mentioned, that's a very small audience set, right? You're only looking at wish lists, whereas your data, you're looking at more channels. And I think it's a fuller picture of what people are talking about outside of that. So it's interesting to think which one will sell more because is it the gamers who are just talking about the game. So Xenofield is going to do really great because it's number 3 on their side, where on your side, it's further down. It's an interesting way to look at the data. And I think taking more sources into it gives you an honest picture of what things are looking like.
Yeah, and so my issue with my issue with wish list as a kind of sole metric, it's I understand why people glom onto it because it's a thing that you can understand as a marketer, and then you're like, well, we need to go up and to the right. But like, here's a couple of problems. Like, first problem is the conversion rate. Like, Simon at Game Discoverable directly has put out a piece last year, and I think he does it annually, where he's like, what's the conversion rate of wish list to purchasers? And it's like 10 to 15%, but oftentimes way lower than that. So I mean, like, if you get 1 out of 10 times to actually achieve a goal on a metric, like, why are we looking at a metric like that if it's so woefully underperforms actual conversions? It's like my first thing is like, why is this a thing to kind of like focus in on? So that's one. But then you go, well, why is wishlist so unconvertible? And this I think goes into any sort of vanity metric, right? And spicy take here, man. You're basically looking at the internet is full of vanity metrics, and this reminds me of the Facebook like. There was a time and period when I came up in the industry back when social media was a relatively new thing, and all people cared about was likes. How many likes you got on Twitter when it was called that? How many likes you got on Facebook? Likes were like the thing. And like, what does a like mean? I don't know, but it's a thing that I can look at and goes up, right? The problem with a metric like that is that as soon as people in the ecosystem realize that's the metric of consequence, and all you're doing is having a digital ping on a thing that makes the number appear, you're opening up to bots and everything else. If there's an incentive to drive a fake volume number up, then believe me, everyone will promise you they'll make that fake number go up. So I think that's part of the challenge that you face with the wish list. It's like not it's a public facing metric that is gameable, right? And there's an entire cottage industry of people who work with these small developers who promise them wish list growth, that kind of growth that is tied to that kind of idea of just you know we got to get number go up to kind of show value to ourselves. So they're basically kind of monetizing that way. So that's my first thing, my first read on that number. And it's not, and like when I ever think about vanity metrics like that, for when I was at Twitch, it was concurrence. I was like, gosh, we got to get so many concurrence, and it still was. And then Twitch has had bot problem after bot problem after bot problem because again, it's another public facing metric that people are being paid on, and as soon as that happens, that the incentive there is to drive that number super high, and part of that honestly is discoverability hack. Like, how do I hack discovery? By getting a bunch of volume numbers that go up that show me as a fast growing thing on Steam. So I'm on like one of the first pages on the Steam homepage. So then I do get visible to other people. So it also echoes some of the broken discoverability problems that are in Steam itself, which is like, if this number has to go up to be seen, then we're going to make that number go up. So, and maybe it is intentional botting. And I'm not outing anyone in particular, but I'm just saying you're creating an ecosystem with a lot of bad incentives that over focuses on a number that doesn't convert. So that's my thoughts.
I would say the one pushback I have, and I agree with everything you say, is that likes matter, and it sucks because like is just someone walking by like, giving you that thumbs up, right? But when you look at the algorithms of the channels, when you release a video, it's only going to give it to a portion of the population, and if that portion of the population engages with it, then that social network is going to open it up to that next portion of the population.
But you're conflating two things. They're very close together. A like doesn't matter, but engagement does. So correct. How many seconds am I looking at a thing matters greatly more than anything else, right? How long does it take me to swipe away from it on TikTok? How much of the YouTube video do I consume? Do I stay for a minute? Do I stay for 3 minutes? Those metrics matter way more to the algorithm than the vanity metrics like and comp, etc. Like those don't matter at all. It's purely based on engagement. Like how long do I stare at something on my screen? Because they're all fighting for the time economy, and the only way to measure the time economy is how much attention is someone giving something, right? And I am incredibly dubious that Valve has the capabilities of that, right? They're not a platform in the sense of the other social media juggernauts, even though I would argue Valve is a social media platform, given its existence for so long, given its place in the industry, and given like why is it so hard to dethrone Valve? It's like one of the major sunk costs of Valve is the friend groups you have built inside of Steam and like the connections you have there to people you play various games with. Like it's very hard to recreate that stuff on another platform, right? So yeah, which is actually one of my themes of this piece. It's like Valve is an so business speaky, like Valve is an aggregator, which what doesn't like most people who listen to me talk about or listen to you probably don't know what that means, and it's very business school speak. If Steven's on there, I know he knows what I'm talking about. It's Ben Thompson. Ben Thompson is a famous tech writer. He created aggregation theory in the 2010s or wrote about it, which is the idea that these platforms exist as a way of aggregating consumer demand as opposed to supply side. So a lot of the monopolies of like the railroads, for example, they became monopolies because they own the supply side. Like they just bought the steel mill, they own the railroad, they built the railroad, they own all parts of it. They drew the electricity to build the railroad, like all components of the supply side. And the big trust busters came through and like, you can't actually own the steel mill and you can't build the railroad, so we're going to break you up, right? So that's kind of what happened at the turn of the century. And those are the laws that are still in place today. Like that's how people regulate monopolies. Ma Bell got broken up because they were selling, they were, Ma Bell, they tried to break up Microsoft. All these things are predominantly based on supply side mechanics. Enter the aggregators. The aggregators actually operate the other side. They instead of leaning on the supply side and aggregating that side, they aggregate the consumer demand side. So like Facebook's big because they have 1 billion plus people on it. That's the magic to it. And like you could chip away at it, but it doesn't change the fact that all the consumer demand, people are opting into going to Facebook, much like people opt to go to Google, like people opt to go to YouTube, people opt to go to TikTok. These are like giant aggregators. And in that sense, Steam is that exact thing. It's like they've aggregated PC consumer demand by being there, by being the only really open storefront on PC for like decades. Like when did Bungie or when did Battle.net finally put another title on? I think it was Destiny 2, the first one from Activision. That's like what 15 years after Battle.net started. Like they didn't pursue a third-party marketplace. Valve was very much pursuing a third-party marketplace in its early inception of Steam. So they own the consumer marketplace because of that, and they've become an aggregator. And like the theme of my piece, unfortunately, with all the stuff they're facing right now from small developers saying they're taking too much cheese off their revenue, is like, you've said this to me before. It's like they've they've lived long enough to become the villain, to use the Dark Knight quote, right? From Harvey Dent, right? I think is the one that says it. Like, stay alive long enough and you become the villain. It's like kind of what's happening to Valve. You stay around long enough that you ultimately are becoming the villain that you fought so hard against in your early days.
We have Alan in the chat who's talking about you could say the same thing about Google Plus, but you can't assume another platform will take market share from Steam. I guess you can't assume another. All right, yeah. So I guess you got Game Pass, right? Who takes market share from Steam at this point? Epic's not doing the job.
No, I
Game
mean that's
Pass.
whole Tim Sweeney's whole war with them. Is like he pulled Fortnite off the thing, created Epic Game Store, has poured billions, or I would say billions, millions, tens of millions into trying to make Epic Game Store a thing, and it owns basically no market share. Well, why? Because they own the demand side. There's so much of an ecosystem built on Steam that it's very hard to untangle that. You can't regulate it away, and I think that's a challenge that maybe the world faces across a lot of technology vectors, not unique to gaming, but it is in gaming. It's a Steam thing. So I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It will only change if someone changes the business model itself. If you the and this is why I'm very bullish on Microsoft if they can actually do what I kind of been espousing forever, which is like change the model, break the wheel, change the model. Stop trying to compete on selling exclusive games, exclusive and like blah blah blah. Just make it free and put ads in there. Go where the other competitors won't go, because I think that would change the dynamic of the marketplace. Because you'll see a lot of people bleed over, but beyond that, like moats are moats. But the only way to break these moats is to compete, man.
We have just some comments. One from Deborah saying she really liked your Iron Nest reference, saying it's extremely niche. I don't even know that game. Maybe it was on your Steam Next Fest. And then she's talking about view duration is one of your main KPIs that we're looking at there. But to answer your question, actually, I don't know what your question was. To your point, you need
Like,
the competition, right? I mean,
yeah, you see competition, but competition can't be regulated in. That's the challenge. I think that's the hard thing that people don't understand. Is like you can't regulate competition in when consumers are choosing to go somewhere. You can't regulate consumers off of preference, and I think that's the whole Apple, Google, all these platforms are like we're going to try to regulate them. And like, well, consumer preference is consumer preference. You can't tell a consumer not to go somewhere because that's where they want to go, right? And so the only path away from that is to build something new that is more appealing to consumers than say what they're already having. And to go back to the Steam bit, because I pulled this in my research, Gabe was not wrong when he said the best way to fight piracy. Remember, piracy was a big deal. Like, oh God, people are stealing my music. People are stealing my video games. People are stealing my movies. He's like, the problem with piracy is that they offered a better service to customers. And what does that mean? Accessibility. Like they weren't like waterfalling release windows into different markets across different weeks. They just all at once. Like things like, and for music, it's like it was accessibility. It's like I just want to put everything on an MP3 disc and kind of go and listen to my songs, right? Like, and the thing for me personally, and then people are gonna hate me, like the thing that broke me out of my piracy, like I used to spend so much time curating, cleaning, fighting the viruses, but it was worth it because I had like hundreds of thousands of songs inside of my giant like multi or terabyte like drive, or probably 500 gigabytes at the time, like drive of
there's no
stuff.
terabytes back then. Stop
Yeah,
it.
I know. I was like 500 megabytes. I'm being on 500 megs, right? And then Spotify came along and was like, hey, why don't you just pay us like $7 a month and that's it? We'll clean the music for you. It's like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then I've just become a Spotify guy ever since then. And I just like decade plus ago, I was like, this is the best deal in the world. Like I just saved myself time because I was spending all this time curating a giant catalog of stuff, and I had to make sure I had backups of it because I didn't want to lose it and refine it again. And then it just like Spotify solved the problem. It's like, I'll give you all the music you ever want to listen to. You just pay us a nominal fee. I'm like, oh, well, sure, here you go. And they changed the market, and now they are the aggregator of music, right? So they changed it.
But that changes. I mean, and then we don't have to keep beating this topic down,
Uh,
but like we're at a point now where I have 47,000 streaming different subscriptions set up. I'm just like, give me cable again, man. Like, give me just that one box that has everything on it. Why do I need 57 things? What channel is football going to be on today? Right? It's just like, oh, is it on Amazon? Is it on Netflix today? Is it on regular TV? Is it on YouTube TV? Like, just
oh,
stop it. Like,
there's a
convenience.
huge opportunity. You're right about the video. There's a huge opportunity to aggregate all that stuff, and that's kind of like they haven't figured that out yet, but that is an opportunity because like people like that. It was the cable bundle, the problem is that the cable bundle broke, and if Justin Reese is on here, he could tell me if I'm wrong or not, is like they started charging customers too much and made them watch ads. That is the thing you cannot do in the economy. You cannot say, hey, customer, pay us a lot of money, be it carriage fees or whatever, but you're paying us for that. And we're going to increase the ad load on you to its insufferable levels. That is the fundamental tension. Like people will either pay to avoid ads or they will suffer through an infinite amount of ads. But when you make them pay and watch ads, that's when you break your whole business model. You just cannot do it. Like that is the tension. And TV learned that lesson the hard way. I live in a city that's going through a Detroit-like reset, as they literally openly talk about. Like, is LA becoming Detroit? In part because they lit their own business model on fire chasing Netflix. And the core reason why Netflix exists is because they at the time offered you a way to pay out of watching ads. Full stop.
And so Deborah's mentioning as well, you don't have access to everything, even on Spotify. Even the content is still being gated. And that's
But
subject
for
to market
most
loss as well.
people, that's okay. I mean, for most people, they're content with having 90% of the music they'd ever listened to. And then as you listen and engage with more stuff, the algorithms get better at putting new stuff in front of you and you never leave that loophole, right? But let's get back to gaming because we're talking way about other industries. Like Valve is none of these things. Valve is just a storefront that's curated a catalog of infinite amount of titles that people have bought over the years and the network effects of having all your friends there. And that is the kind of moat behind Valve, which I do think is penetrable. I don't think it's insurmountable for someone to take on Valve because they're while they have aggregated things, it's not at a kind of insane level, in my opinion, that is insurmountable for any challenger to come through if they change the business model or like kind of attack it from another angle. So um, so going to the Steam machine, it's like, oh well, Valve could build a bigger moat if they were to begin to give away the blades, so they could sell razors, which is games, which is where they make all their money at the 30%, slice off the top. And instead, they were like, actually, we're going to sell a box at the price of components to us. We're not subsidizing anything, which is a choice. And people go, well, it's part, and I buy this philosophy. It's like, oh, it's part of Valve's bigger play to try to do the Android thing again that Gabe talked about over a decade ago. Like, we're going to be the Android of gaming. We're going to operate our OS. We're going to take down Windows, blah, 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 which I'm like, sure. But the first thing you have to do is show that there's a minimal viable product that consumers actually want. And we'll see. Maybe Steam Deck or the Steam Cube sells out and gets its million sycophant fans to buy into it and doesn't matter. But like, at the end of the day, you have to have scale for the OEMs, the people that make other consumer electronics, to say, oh yeah, we should try our hand in making a console with the Steam OS on top of it. Blah blah blah. Like I just think like they have an opportunity to really eat in the market share, and they just chose not to. And for a business that's not publicly traded and insanely profitable, I just think what a miss.
Can I ask about a potential competitor?
Oh please.
So my podcast I talked about with Poki. Poki, for those that don't know, Poki is the world's largest web gaming platform. I did a podcast this week. They released a state of web gaming report. I want to just name some of these numbers in this report for you and just kind of get your thoughts on them. In 2020, they had 10 million monthly active players. In 2026, they have 100 million monthly active players. That is a lot of players. Secondly, 37% of those players play multiple times a day, meaning they're walking away from their machine, they come back and they play again. And 92% of them rate the games of high quality. So first of all, any of those, does that surprise you? Because the high quality one surprised me a bit.
Not at all. We rank them as the 8th largest gaming ecosystem in the world in our tool, and people are like, I look at us like we're crazy, and they're like, "What is Poki?" So, and I've met the founders there too, and I've told them the same thing. Like, we see you as the 8th largest ecosystem in the world for games. In a list that has like Minecraft, Roblox, Fortnite, GTA, the normal kind of heavy hitters in the top 10, like they're in that group, which is congrats to them.
Just a few more here. 62% of people bought a game after actually playing it on the web, so it is driving sales. 27% of them spend at least $50 a month on games. and 53% of studios, they surveyed 400 studios there, are moving to web in the next 12 months. Do you think there's ever a world where a web-based platform could take on Steam?
You're forgetting one thing. One of my favorite things to constantly point out. How does Poki monetize its attention?
How does it That's a great question, because accounts are free. I don't have the answer to that one.
The answer is ads. The answer is ads.
Do they
They're
have
an
ads in there?
ad-supported ecosystem. Who
Man, that
knew
could
that
help
you could
you
reach
out. All
100
this is gonna
million
help you out.
players on a browser-based game with ad-supported, free and ads? Wow, what an amazing reaching 100 million players. Oh my, it's a big number. So yeah, I do think there's a big play for Poki, Xbox, anyone who can get their hands on premium quality titles. And not knocking Poki, just like taking that and turning it into an ad support ecosystem is like a cash volcano waiting to explode. And I know some people who listen to this probably think, Colin, get off this soapbox, you're wrong. And other people I've slightly converted, and the other ones on the ad side who've been in the ads business, shout out to Justin Ruiz, are like, he's absolutely right. Like he spot on. That's exactly what happened. And like you saw the news where Xbox is Microsoft's mulling over selling its parts, which I would like to say I got that right when we first started meeting last summer. That's what I said. Like, well, it feels inevitable they're going to start selling Xbox parts. If Xbox was actually on sale, I would highly say Meta should go buy the damn thing and just plug its ad engine. Meta has been in a chase for a decade plus for a platform to put that's not Apple to put their stuff on to then monetize that attention so they could be free of iOS forever because Meta and Apple have been in a decade plus long war. It's why we have Apple ad transparency and tracking. It's why Meta bought the whole headset Oculus division. It's been going on forever. And it's funny. It's the same dynamic that Steam is facing with this. It's like Meta is basically being asked by Apple to figure out a way that Meta or Apple could get a 30% cut off of Meta's business because they felt that they built Facebook into what it is, but they weren't making any money on it because it was free and ad supported, and they didn't get to get the slice of cheese off that thing. Like, where's our subscription button? Well, there is none. We're an ad supported platform. Ooh, oof. And then that's the tension. Fast forward now, it's just like neither one will come off that hill. But if Meta could buy Xbox, I guarantee you it'd be a multi-billion-dollar business overnight. Now, some people I know would say Mark Zuckerberg doesn't think he's a media company. He thinks he's everything else. That is true. He should think he's a media company, but he also really wants a platform, and Xbox is a platform, and it would do very well with ads. Any game with premium content would do very well with ads.
That would be an interesting one. I still think the world is going to be Zuckerberg ends up buying Roblox. I still think that's the
It's
perfect.
a it isn't. It's kids to kid. I so disagree with that. I mean, he would make a lot of money on Roblox. I mean, sure, it's just not mature enough for them. And given what Meta is facing from a regulatory standpoint globally on the kids stuff, I don't think they'd touch it with a 10-foot pole
I guess
until
you're right on that feeling. I'm going to try and argue it, and it's going to be a bad one, but you need a feeder system to get people to sign up for Instagram and Facebook again. It's clearly the dying social channels compared to some of the other ones. Well, maybe not
dying.
Instagram, Facebook.
Engagement's up. They reach billions of people. Nothing's dying.
It's
Oh
not
my gosh, Greg, look at the numbers. The numbers only go up. It's just
on
like
Facebook or on Instagram.
Facebook is a mature platform, but it reaches a lot of people worldwide. It reaches billions of people. We're talking about literally the largest ecosystem on the planet between between Meta's products, between WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram is like an ecosystem that basically all tied to each other. Because when anti-regulators were sniffing around Meta, they basically pivoted their entire product roadmap to tie these things so closely together that you could not detangle them even if they wanted to without breaking the whole system, which is what they've spent the last decade doing since like, first Trump election, everyone got mad at Meta. Meta's like, oh my gosh, we never had this heat before. And then they're like, hey, engineers, snap to it. Begin to make it so you can't detangle WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook together. And to your point though, Meta's not buying anything unless they buy it during this administration. That's it. They're not. Otherwise, that door will shut real fast on them. So they have like a 2-year window. TikTok, right?
All right. Let's move on to subject number 2, because this one's been dragging on here, and I'm out of ammo here. Let's talk about, where do you want to start? You want to start with Xbox? I know we've been talking about that. There are changes. You want us to talk about our friends at Sony and Bungie?
Let's talk about Bungie. I mean, it's a swan song. I feel bad. I mean, like, how do you not feel bad? It just sucks. It's like something, the writing was on the wall when they announced the death of Destiny 2, and they were going to see the last season through. Now they've seen it through. It's like, well, inevitably there are going to be massive cuts that are going to happen there because, I mean, if I think Alan Nana is the one that put that out there. So shout out to Reese over there. But like, I think it's like 60-70% of the player base of Marathon is on Steam. And if that's the case and they hover around 10K concurrence, that's a dead game. Sorry to all the Marathon players, including you, say here, good sir, right?
I'm
Hanging
done
on
with
by a
it. I hung
thread.
it up.
And then Destiny 2 was missed the mark on some things because I mean they had a game called The Final Shape and it wasn't the final. Like I just like perplexed by this. Like you told the gamers it's done. I'm like, oh wow, it's done. And then they're like, but there's more without a clear three behind it. It's just one of the more confounding decisions made by any company. And so it sucks. I will say though that, and I could be wrong, but given the life cycle of game development, like, and Sony could have stepped in at any time to kind of shift things, but like I believe when Sony bought them, these decisions were already made. So it's not like Sony was like forcing Destiny 2 to be on forever. They probably lean on the best advice from those at Bungie to say, "What are you guys doing?" Like, well, we think Destiny 2 is a forever game. We're just going to keep building on it. And like, okay, and they kind of leaned into that being the, as they bought Bungie reportedly to be the wise men about live service games, and I mean that proved to be a massive mistake to not make Destiny 3, and we talked about this before, but it just sucks. There's nothing else to say, but it sucks. On
Have
top of
you?
the Xbox cuts are coming next week too. So like we're going in July, pre-announced layoffs happening at Xbox, gonna hit next week.
It's never a dull moment for people working in the gaming industry. It's you always get a sleepless night, and that's something that we have here. But did you hear the speculation that Sony was like mad at Bungie and kind of set them up to fail? That there is kind of turbulence from within the studios, and that the numbers weren't hitting what Sony wanted, so they kind of didn't help them as much as they could.
Um, hmm. I mean I don't know. So we're playing like cast Palace Intrigue on this one a little bit, like what was going on there. I like to think that Sony generally lets its studios do what they say they're gonna do, but then they grade them on it. Like it's almost like having a teacher saying, "Yeah, pursue the thing of interest you're most interested in, but we have to put a grading rubric on you because we're not a charity, right?" And so you just look at how Sony handles its other owned and operated assets that it bought in, like Insomniac Games seems to do just fine. Santa Monica Studios does just fine, right? Naughty Dog, owned by them forever, but they seem to do just fine. Like they're allowed to kind of do what they say they're going to do, and Sony supports them in their endeavors. And so that part of thinking like, well, they just suddenly changed their culture because it was Bungie, doesn't read right to me. But like I wrote before, Greg, Bungie's unownable. They rebel against everything they've ever been owned by. From Microsoft, they rebelled, to the Activision deal, they rebelled, and now they're rebelling against Sony Interactive. Granted, they're all getting cut, but like this is a company that cannot be owned.
Yeah, I loved that fact. I remember that now. Every time I see something about Bungie, it's like I keep that in mind. Like they do try and kill themselves. They create such great games, but whoever owns them, they just find a way to either piss off or not make happy enough, and they end up just shooting themselves in the foot. And I still think there's a world where we see a Destiny 3. It's just I don't know if it's in a
Oh,
time frame where it makes a difference.
I mean, look, we're 15 years or whatever from Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's gonna be the biggest entertainment launch of all time. So, and I am guilty of saying I don't know if I'd play Destiny 3, but like if Destiny 3 came out in like 2033, I'd probably go, well, I'll give the campaign a go. So like I I am, and the internet will probably go, this is amazing. Like let's all play this game. So I do think like Sony's not going to just kill IP. Like they didn't buy Bungie, have a bad first year of marriage, and then say we're going to burn the house down and not liquidate its assets. I just don't see that being a thing. I just think like they'll probably have them scale down. They'll probably put them on a PIP, performance improvement plan for all those who have not worked in corporate America. And part of that PIP is like, hey, we want you to greenlight a game that actually will make us money. Like, we'll start there. You pick. Like, we'll help you suss out what that game is, Destiny 3, and like we'll fund it if we think you can actually deliver on what you say. And so that's probably what the Bungie's in on right now is a PIP.
All right. I like that. A pip. I imagine them just getting a piece of paper handed to them saying you're on a pip. Here are the metrics you need to hit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk a little bit about games here for a moment. Take a little aside here. Today is Star Fox Day. Are you anxiously awaiting to play Star Fox after this?
No, no, not particularly, but I will probably buy it this weekend just to like have fun with my kid and have him fly an airplane around. So like I probably will play it. Have I been dying for Star Fox 64 again? Not particularly, but looked cool. So I'm not against it. I'll say that, right? We're also in the doldrums of summer games, man. I'm playing Lego Batman with my kid. We're 30 hours in. You know, he just got to play the Two-Face level where, we had like a Two-Face origin story all that Dark Knight and then led into the Two-Face from Batman Forever, which was a choice in the circus, and he is doing his best Tommy Lee Jones, and I was like, oh god, this is a thing, huh? And he loves it. He's like, this is great. And then he plays like Grand Theft Auto. He just runs over everybody in the city, shoots missiles at everything, and yeah, he's loving it.
Yeah, my kid does the same thing. We haven't gotten that far in it yet, but he's just loving going through the city. He had his friend come over the other day. They were playing side by side. I'm just like, yeah, man, like it's fun to watch my kid play games with his friends now because it's fun to see them play it together. They've been trying to play Rocket League together. Neither of them know how to play Rocket League, so it's really funny to see them just kind of going all over the place as they ruin my skill ranking. But
Uh, I do the puzzles. I play side by side with my son on the weekends, and I do the puzzles for him. So
nice.
he can unlock more Batmobiles, right? And that is the nature of the game for us right now. And I've been playing. I mean, I played Bond to I think the third act, and I've like let it sit for now 2 weeks. So I hope I get the energy to go finish the story. I saw you saying you love it. You love the
Tutorial.
yeah, the tutorial. I was looking for the name. Like sure.
You're not gonna tell me it was great? Oh, my mind was just blown by how well it was done. An introduction to a game that gave you a solid backstory. It felt like a James Bond intro. Just like,
Oh, I think the story is fine. My kind of review of Bond is like just I'm excited to play with if IOI. I hope they do get like a chance at that IP and make it a trilogy and not a single game. Like because I do think there is with some refinement, I think they could really nail the hybrid that is Uncharted versus Hitman. I just think it's a little janky for me. Some of the stuff, and I want more freedom to play Bond the way I want to play it. And I think they kind of try to drive you too much into the stealth stuff.
oh, I disagree. Costs. I didn't want to play because of the stealth stuff, but there's only I think one or two missions that you have to be a little
Oh, you're
stealth.
not even in it yet. No,
I'm far. I gotta
are
be
you
far. I
are
gotta be.
you are you at the part where you're back in London?
I think so. One of the twins is no more.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. A lot of hiding underneath kitchen counters with bleach everywhere,
Oh,
and
I
you're
just
just
shoot
like,
everyone, man. That's the beauty of the game. You don't have to stealth. You can go and you can just fight everyone. And the fighting mechanics are awesome too. The whole I don't know. I think IO. Not that I ever thought Bond was going to be a bad game, but I think they just nailed the Bond spirit. Like I look at if I were to tell you the best Bond game ever, I historically would say GoldenEye, but I think this easily gets the crown. And that might not be a very proud thing to say. I mean, it's not a high bar set by any other game Bond other than GoldenEye.
I think GoldenEye is better, but it's a different game. I wouldn't compare them.
Nostalgia.
Like one's a straight up movie adaptation that's probably more famous than the movie is based on. That was basically an FPS, right? And a
Yeah.
very, very important FPS in the history of FPS because it created the initial multiplayer shared screen, kind of like everyone gets to be a Bond character and you run around and shoot each other maps. And we all thought about who's going to be a job because he's the hardest to hit because he's short. That was it. The secret of it was he's a short guy. Whereas Jaws was the worst because he was too tall and you could hit him from any part of it. Like you're like, oh, there's Jaws, pop, 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 right? So, yeah.
Another game, and this should have been asked a lot earlier in the conversation with your Steam stuff, is have you heard of Mecha Chameleon?
Yeah, it's doing really well. It's actually yeah.
Doing crazy numbers right now, and maybe it's just not on there because it's out and there's no wish list available, so it's
Yeah,
a live
it's out.
game. But like, this is another one of those games that Mina the Hollower, which I actually spoke to someone today that didn't like Mina the Hollower. I'm not gonna say his name's Justin, but it might be that guy.
Oh boy. Does he hate Yacht Club games? Does he hate
No,
Shovel Knight?
he told me he's not a fan. He's not the biggest fan of roguelikes, and Mina's pretty much a roguelike.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's fair.
But
You
Mecha
gotta.
Chameleon was an interesting one to me because I've heard it from a few people now, and I haven't heard of this game up until like late last week, and it's apparently going bananas. And I think that just kind of shows you that you don't really know unless you're deep in the research of what games are popping off right now, and it's fascinating. There's no rhyme or reason to what works.
I mean, I think this is the to kind of tie a bone on. This is like one of those viral things. Steam is always going to produce these kind of crazy indie breakthrough games. It just happens. It's just always like a margin of stuff. It typically happens when we're in a lull of AAA content, which I would say June has definitely been in that lull because everyone decided to release their game the same week in May. So here we are. Nothing really all that new in June. I mean Star Fox, but like pretty dead month. And yeah, I just think like you kind of see these things happen. And also see, let me see. I'm trying to find this game in our system real quick. See if I can find it. Oh yeah, Mecha Chameleon. Oh yeah, it hit the top 25 this week of all games. Congrats to them. Oh yeah, pretty cool, right? And it's made by a basically single person thing. So yeah,
Gotta get him on the podcast.
you do.
Yeah, that's
Good
my
luck.
next goal. And then the last thing I think, let's just quickly touch on Xbox console prices are going up.
Yeah, let's do a deeper dive on this in like a couple of weeks because I am definitely going to write about DRAM and why I'm a lot more optimistic than a lot of the take makers out there on this one because memory costs are gonna go back down faster than I think people think because it's just one of those like teaser folks who's still here. Like memory is like one of those things that nobody ever optimized toward for like 30, 40 years because you didn't have to because memory was so cheap that you just assumed there'd be more memory and it was going to cost you nothing. And to optimize any software or hardware you are to memory would be just a waste of resources because it's so cheap. Now it's not cheap. And the incentive there is going to be, well, can we just start optimizing our system so we make better use of memory? I think that's the world we're going to end into. Never mind that China's going to dump a bunch of cheap memory in the market. Like, buckle up. There's going to be a bunch of cheap memory coming out of China. They're already pivoting a lot of things to provide cheap memory. They can't provide the GPUs and the bleeding edge chips, which is fair. They can't yet, but they can definitely dump memory in the market if they start going there, which is what they'll do, like they have done with everything else. So I'm less dubious on the memory crisis. That said, I don't think consoles are ever going they're not going to go backwards in price. Though if they sell them, they'll keep them, right? And so we're just finding the new floor pricing for this all. So, I mean, sure, keep raising the price. You know what looks like a great deal, Greg? You know
So
who took so many arrows and slings, and shout out to Amir because me and him talk about this all the time. Nintendo. They raised their price by $50 and we act like it was doomsday. Their stock fell by 30% on that news. Meanwhile, people are raising their price. Never mind, it's hundreds of dollars. Let's look at it as a relation to the actual price of the console beforehand. It's far greater than $50 to a $350 whatever the price was. Like a relationship to the price itself is far cheaper for what Nintendo did to what everybody else did. And Nintendo came out in the same breath and said the promise by us is to discount our digital only games. Like, has anyone else said that? No, but we pillory like Nintendo for being a greatly well-run company who gives consumers great value, and then we give the Steam Cube an 8 out of 10 on your reviews and saying what a great consumer product, an entry point for gaming PCs. As someone who's both built and bought pre-built PCs, I'm left saying, huh? Like, what?
let's end it with a knock on IGN. That's my favorite way to end an episode. Colin, let us know where we can find your patch notes.
I'm on Substack. I'm on your website, Greg. Don't you put my stuff there too? I'm
I
on
do.
playerdriven.com.io wherever you find it
Everything.
on the socials. So find me there, and if you like it and you want to just get it in your emails on Friday morning or whenever I end up publishing, then follow me on Substack or on LinkedIn. Yeah, do it. I try to do it weekly. It gets lengthy, but hey, we're ending a holiday season. You can read my history of Valve and my deep dive into it over maybe some hot dogs and some hamburgers and some World Cup matches that you're just watching in the background. So yeah.
Are you watching the World Cup? Are you going?
Of
Are you
course,
near?
well,
Are you going to a
USA, we're
game?
all in. We're
SoFi?
in. We're in on USA.
I
Best thing
know.
that brings
Weird.
best thing to bring America together is sports. Like we all just rally around the flag on sports. It's the thing that's true.
Yeah, yeah, I 100. Sorry, I just so agree with that because I talked to Amir yesterday. We were talking for a little bit, and we were talking about the attitude in New York right now. And there's just so much hype and excitement in New York. And you have Mandami and other people, and then you have the Knicks, and you have the World Cup. And I think there's just such a celebration of life in New York right now. And I think it truly does bring everyone together. Like when the USA does good as a country and then New York's doing good as a city, like I just feel like everything clicks better. So maybe this is the start of the up and up until we get knocked out in the round of 16.
Well, let's just go to the parts of the country. Like they're all into the World Cup too. Like athletes going through like Kansas. I've seen like stories of just like how the country, even though soccer is not even the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth most popular sport, like we still get really excited about it. Especially if the U.S. team is doing well, we rally behind it. And yeah, it definitely brings everyone together to kind of share one thing. And sports is like one of the last things in American culture that can actually do that. That and Grand Theft Auto 6, and we'll end on that. GTA 6, make America like each other again.
There we go. All right, Colin, I appreciate you for everyone watching and talking in the chat today. Thank you so much for being a part of it, and we'll catch you again next week.
Bye-bye.